We're back for the second half. I told you we'd be back. Speaking of that, now, although, just a reminder, although the show is going to be ending on Shaw, because Shaw is ending Cable 4, we're going to continue. You can still find us on Facebook and YouTube. In the meantime, it's time to get to know our very last guest for this venue. Please welcome Julie Agar.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Julie. Leave the door and just come on in. Thanks so much for agreeing to be on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Please have a seat.
Okay.
So you can sit right here.
Thank you.
Just want to let you know that you are the last person being interviewed for our show on Shaw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So thanks for agreeing to be here. You mentioned that you sailed throughout the Caribbean.
Correct.
Okay, I want to hear all about that. How did that come about?
Well, it came about, it's been a few years back now, but my husband was planning his retirement, and I was at the pinnacle of my career at the time, and he had always wanted to retire and sail. So he decided it was time to do just that. And I had a choice to make. I had a choice to continue on with a career that was going very well for myself and a career that I absolutely adored, or go live the dream. So I gave everything up. We sold our house and we set sail for the Caribbean. And from start to finish, it was a 3-year journey.
Oh my goodness. So prior to that journey, had you sailed before? Either
we have, yes. My husband has sailed all of his life, and he has spent many years in the Mediterranean. He had crossed the Atlantic, so he was more than a competent, capable captain. And I had never night sailed. I had only day sailed throughout the Gulf Islands, weekends, fair weather. So it was all new to me, actually.
So are there any memorable moments?
Countless memorable moments, actually. We ended up sailing over 10,000 nautical miles during this trip. And we had actually started from the top of the eastern seaboard in Virginia, where we set sail, and our first landfall was Bermuda.
Okay.
And that was a week to get there, and then from Bermuda we sailed due south and ended up as far as Trinidad.
Right. And did you encounter any bad weather?
We did.
What was that like?
The first experience of bad weather was at the very beginning of our trip. It was the tail end of hurricane season, which would have been at the very end of November. So it was a very unusual low that NOAA, the weather report, was very concerned about. And as it turned out, it did form into Hurricane Lenny. And we had very large swells of 20 feet and strong winds of 35 to 40 knots that were right on the nose. So we had no choice but to turn around and go back to the eastern seaboard, let the hurricane take its path and end, and we set sail again.
Right.
And a week out at sea, we finally landfalled in Bermuda.
Did you pick up any hitchhikers?
No, but there were many.
Oh, I thought it was being funny.
There is a lot of young people that are looking to be boat hands, deck crew. There's notifications all over ports of call, and people from all over the world that would just like to have that opportunity. We never did have any extra crew with us, just the two of us.
Like, you're actually away from Canada for 3 years, or almost 3 years. You gave up everything to go there. How do you start back up when you come home?
It's not easy.
Because you don't even have a home.
No, you don't. So when we came back, the purpose for us coming back when we did, I have a younger brother that was awaiting a double lung transplant.
Oh my goodness.
So hence our journey came to an end, and it took us a while to make our way back home. And we were home in time for his double lung transplant, which I'm proud to say has been 15 years post-transplant for my brother. Right. So when we came back, we were residing with him for more than one reason, mainly because we had no home. Right. Secondly, my brother was undergoing his surgery, so we were close by as well. And then after his recovery and the reality of back in Canada, and my husband had retired, but I was nowhere near retirement, so we decided to relocate to Chilliwack, where my parents reside.
Prior to leaving, you talked about a career you were in that was going really well for you. What was that career?
I worked for the airlines.
Oh.
At YVR, and I had been there 10 years at the point of time when we decided that we would set out on this adventure. And it was something that I had a real passion for, that type of lifestyle, that type of career. It was very fast.
What were you doing for Air Canada?
I was in airport operations.
Airport operations. I said Air Canada. I don't know why I said that, but
yeah,
airport operations.
Which basically consisted of many different functions, from ticketing to the VIP lounge, to boarding aircraft, to airside. So it was a very interesting job with a lot of diversity, and not to mention all the people coming and going in a day.
Right, must be, yeah, for sure, right? Yeah. Especially Vancouver, it's one of the major airports.
Very busy, yes.
So what are you doing now?
Now I manage AULD PHILLIPS.
AULD PHILLIPS, my favorite store.
Yeah, I've been there, I'm starting my 10th year.
Oh.
So enjoy it very much. It's given me a wonderful opportunity to meet a lot of ladies that live in this town, and I enjoy that very much. Yeah.
That's really great. So now, do you ever go sailing anymore?
We still do. We still have our boat, and we moor it in Blaine. Reason being, we need a 50-foot slip, number one, and number two, it's a country road drive all the way to Blaine from Chilliwack, rather than dealing with the freeway and the traffic in the city. Right. So we still sail on weekends. We haven't set out on any long adventures since the last, but I know given the opportunity, my husband would go in a heartbeat.
Would you?
I would have second thoughts. I always say, you know, I'll meet you on the other side. Maybe, maybe I'll fly, but you know, I would still consider it.
Right.
I would still consider it, although I don't know if I would do that again.
Right, yeah, because again, it's another starting all over again.
It would be,
yeah.
and knowing what's involved, it's not for the faint of heart, right. But it's still an adventure, and it's still a challenging adventure, and it's something that is very difficult to explain unless you've experienced being out on an ocean, right. Feeling like you're the size of a pin on this earth, and sometimes all alone.
I can't imagine it.
So it is, you get to know yourself very well.
Right. Do you have any other hobbies other than sailing?
Sailing is our passion, still continues to be. Photography is a very large interest in my life. I love picture taking and journalism. I like to write stories about my pictures. So that's pretty much what occupies my time.
Okay. Do you have any family?
I do, Nancy, yes. And my parents are still together and alive, thank goodness, and happen to be my next door neighbors.
Oh, really? Oh, that's very nice.
And I have my younger brother who is doing very well, and my husband.
So does he cook your meals for you?
He does.
Bonus. Bonus. Oh, you should rent him out.
I know. And it's appreciated. And he's become a good cook. Yeah.
Okay, so we're just about out of time. So I have one more question. Do you have any pets?
I do. I have an English Cocker Spaniel named Toby.
Toby.
Toby, and I have a feral cat named Jojo.
A feral cat, so it doesn't live in the house.
He has an open window.
That's really good. Well, unfortunately, we're totally out of time. And thanks again for being here.
Thank you, Nancy.
And thank you all for watching. And again, if you are not on the internet, well, thanks for tuning in all this time. And for those who are, look for us. We're still around. Thank you. See you then. Peace out.